There's something different in your genes. Like a mutation.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh. We need to talk about some super fun information coming out about what Kevin Feige plans to do with the mutants in the next phase of the MCU. This information is coming from Daniel Richtman. I actually double-checked with Daniel just to make sure that this is accurate and that he is hearing that this is going on. And he told me, yeah, it's true, and it's very, very wild. And I'm going to throw it up here. It says here that Kevin Feige is planning the next Marvel Studios saga and will focus on mutants in the MCU. The saga would include multiple movies and series focused on mutants. And oh man, this has me super excited, and I'm speculating. My head is buzzing, and so I wanted to do a speculation video, just kind of break down my thoughts about this with you, because any Marvel fan that has had any experience reading Marvel comics knows how important the X-Men and the mutants are to the fabric of the MCU. Mutants play a major role in huge events throughout the history of Marvel Comics. But first, before we get into why this is so freaking cool, we gotta talk about why it's also kind of a bummer. This seems to corroborate reports that have recently been coming out about how, due to some contracts and some weird stuff with Fox, they can't do any recasting of the primary X-Men. They can't do a proper X-Men movie until after 2025. That is kind of a bummer, but a lot of evidence is piling up to suggest that that's just kind of the way that it is. And many people are speculating that the mutants themselves will be a project, or focused on in some kind of a project, in 2025. Like, it really seems like, if all of this stuff is to be believed, they can't do proper X-Men, but they can start introducing the mutants in that mutant movie, which is heavily rumored to be coming out in 2025, maybe even in between the two big Avengers films. But now let's get into the speculation. Let's begin by talking about Secret Wars. Now, why is Secret Wars so important to this conversation? Because what Feige is doing is planning a saga after Secret Wars. And due to these recent trademark leaks, we believe the next two sagas might be the Timeless Saga and the Eternity Saga. And I've been thinking a lot about this because it feels like the fun that could be had in a Secret Wars movie will actually be sprinkled throughout the next 9 to 10 years of Marvel through other big event films that are likely going to include even more crazy multiverse stuff. And I do think that there will be mutants that play a significant role in the Secret Wars movie. I mean, we've heard they want Patrick Stewart back. We've heard they want Hugh Jackman back very badly for Secret Wars.
Go fuck yourself.
And Secret Wars itself is going to be sort of this celebration of the Marvel multiverse, and I think more in a line with where a lot of people thought maybe the Multiverse of Madness movie was going to end up, right? There were all kinds of rumors, crazy stuff that was on the table for that film, and that was sort of an appetizer for what we're going to get in Secret Wars. And I actually just recently made a video talking about why Kang, or He Who Remains, could have eliminated or postponed the X gene from coming into prominence in the Sacred Timeline. I suggest you check that video out. I think it's a lot of fun, but there are many different reasons as to why Kang would not want mutants to mess up his control of the Sacred Timeline. I mean, mutants can time travel, mutants have precognitive abilities, mutants can warp reality itself. So mutants can be incredibly powerful, and so it's very possible that when they all meet up on Secret Wars, it could be revealed that Kang prevented mutants or postponed mutants in the Sacred Timeline. And it's really hard to say what the Secret Wars of the MCU is even going to look like. Like, it's technically possible that it actually won't affect canon that much, because unlike Infinity War and Endgame, which just directly affect Earth and the 616, Secret Wars could happen in a place within the multiverse. It could happen after the multiverse collapses and then is created once again. And it's possible that the events of Secret Wars, while significant to saving the multiverse, might not actually have that much of a direct effect on the 616 timeline. Like, it's kind of possible that all that happens on Battleworld and then it's just wrapped up there, and then we're just kind of back to regular business in the MCU. And to me, that kind of plays. Like, that's kind of hype. Like, we had to celebrate the other versions of the Fox X-Men in Secret Wars, have some dope interactions between OG X-Men and some of the OG Avengers, and that is going to be fantastic. But then you sort of carry that hype over into the MCU version of the mutants and the X-Men after that. And I think it's a real cool way to add a ton of different hype and excitement into that next phase of the MCU. You could set up some stuff with Avengers versus X-Men, something like that, that could perhaps even be established on Battleworld in Secret Wars that then carries over to the way certain characters look at the mutant phenomenon in a post-Secret Wars MCU. And so maybe you do get some conflict with the mutants and the rest of the MCU, and maybe that's just a singular thread during like the Earthbound stories, while also still setting up wild stuff with the Eternity Saga or the Timeless Saga, because I still think we're going very bombastic, very big for the two sagas that will come after the Multiverse Saga. But the other flip side of this, which I kind of alluded to when talking about why Kang may have wanted to prevent the mutants, is the fact that the mutants themselves are at the center of incredibly crazy things that happen in the Marvel Universe. And so even in the old X-Men 96 or 92 to 96 show, there were moments when they arrive at the Nexus of Time and they're hanging out with Immortus. Like, that was literally a part of it, where Bishop and Immortus are trying to fix the timeline and like change things like that, with characters like Apocalypse and, you know, Cable and just other kind of fun mutant characters. The idea of jumping around and jumping throughout the multiverse, I mean, that's a very mutant thing. Like, there's a version of the X-Men that exists in a world that's the Age of the Apocalypse universe. It's like the version of Nightcrawler that's an absolute killer. He's like a pirate version of Nightcrawler. He's absolutely savage. The Wolverine from that world is absolutely savage. So you could see multiversal stuff happening with mutants as well. But I can't help but think about what Jonathan Hickman and the whole team that's writing X-Men over the past couple of years has been doing with the sort of rehabilitation of the X-Men, with this whole arc where Moira McTaggart was revealed to be a mutant that has reincarnation and resets the timeline. Like, there's some absolutely wild parts of that book where they take Moira and they keep her like frozen and send her like thousands of years into the future, where humanity has merged with the Phalanx and become mostly a robotic species, and mutants are all but eliminated and actually treated like animals in a zoo. And this is all to learn what the far future looks like and to try to prevent that from happening. Basically, mutant powers are a perfect catalyst and a tool of writing and story to take us even further as far as craziness in the MCU is concerned. Like, again, I think Secret Wars is going to be absolutely dope, but a lot of people say like it's too soon for Secret Wars, but it was technically too soon for Civil War. It was too soon for Age of Ultron, and the versions we got in the MCU were not the comic book versions. They were like little appetizer versions. I still think Ultron could be back. We could still get World War Hulk. You know, we could get a proper Civil War 2 that's more like the one from the comics. And in that same way, the Secret Wars we get in 2025, I'm sure is going to be absolutely incredible, but a lot of the fun and the bombast that I think could be in a Secret Wars movie may be held off for Eternity Wars, for the Timeless Saga, and for things after that. And mutants and different things like, you know, even the Phoenix Force and the White Phoenix and the White Room and these different concepts. It's a beautiful way to establish more lore to the overall fabric of the MCU and go even further with that craziness, with that fun, with the multiple variants, the timelines, time travel itself. All things can happen through the mutants, and I just think that's a perfect way to kind of hype us up, take us in a crazy direction. And so I wanted to just bring this video, speculate about it, because I'm so damn excited. Frankly, Marvel has enough juice to keep us entertained, to keep us excited and engaged in the MCU for at least 10 more years, and I love the idea of them very much focusing on the mutants in the saga after this. But those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you think about this, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.